Hello and welcome to another edition of Skyhawk Update. I'm Brendan Murray, back behind the desk, joined as always by my good friend, the man himself, Craig Riotto. And Craig, we've got a lot to cover this week.
That's right, Brendan. 2 conference championships, a nail-biter on national TV, and a full slate of action. It was a crazy week here at Stonehill, and the Skyhawks were taking care of business. Let's get right to it. Let's roll with those highlights.
Sounds good, Craig. We're going to get things started over at the Merkert Gymnasium to catch up with the women's volleyball team. They had a busy week with games on both Friday and Saturday, and Friday night saw an absolutely incredible comeback for the Skyhawks against Lemoyne. Let's go to the tape, and as you can see here, the Skyhawks got off to a bit of a slow start. They would drop this point. They'd also drop enough points in the first 2 to lose both those, put themselves in a tough hole in just a best-of-5 match as Lemoyne had a distinct advantage. But Stonehill would come all the way back on the back of great offensive play here from Sydney Maxey and Delia Phillips as the final spike hits a Lemoyne player, goes out of bounds, and Stonehill gets the comeback victory. And Sydney Maxey had an absolutely great game. She led with 17 kills and 12 digs, but Craig, those digs, while impressive, came up a little bit short.
That's right. She had 999 career digs at the conclusion of this game. Everyone thought she had her 1,000th one. She made an incredible diving effort on the floor and dug the ball out of the court, but it landed on the other side of the net, which actually counted as a kill for Stonehill and Sydney Maxey, so she's going to have to wait one more game before she gets that elusive 1,000. And
we'll catch up with that quest a little bit later in the program, but for now we're going to shift our sights over to the soccer fields, and men's soccer is having a tough season, but trying to turn it around and go through the final games of the season on a high note, and they would start that against St. Rose this week, and they did turn it around thanks to an offensive explosion. They snapped a 3-game losing streak by beating the Golden Knights on Saturday afternoon, thanks to goals from Jonathan Hope, Tyler Brondick, Cam McDonough, and Drew Montano, along with Lou Bessie playing keeper and really putting up a great performance for the Skyhawks. He'd improve his record to 2-3 with 4 saves while letting in only 2 goals. And now we're going to switch sides a little bit, head over to the women's soccer team. They played Bentley to a draw earlier in the week, and in their last home match on Saturday afternoon, they'd be honoring their graduating seniors. And you can see here Amy Wheaton with a nice play to keep St. Rose out of the net, but she could not do that all day. They had scored 2 goals, Stonehill down, and their offense just could not respond. As you see, a shot here sails over the top of the goal, and Stonehill only garners 8 shots and 3 corner kicks. A tough offensive day, and you really got to feel for Amy Wheaton. She put up a great game in net, stopping 7 of the 9 shots that came her way, but the offense just couldn't bail her out, and the Skyhawks would fall 2-0.
It's been an up-and-down season for the Skyhawks in field hockey, something that we aren't used to seeing in the last few years. But in the final week of the regular season, Stonehill had to buckle down and take care of business just to keep their NE10 playoff hopes alive. On Tuesday, they did just that as they took the road to Manchester, New Hampshire and edged out those other Hawks from St. Anselm College by a final score of 2-1. Erica Kelly scored in the opening 2 minutes of the game, and Brittany Ford knocked in the game winner to improve their overall record to 8-9, 4-5 in conference play. 4 days later, this was Saturday, the Skyhawks made another long out-of-state trip to Vermont, where they clashed with St. Michael's College. It was another barn burner. As you can see, the Skyhawks take another game, 2-1. They pushed themselves into the NE10 tournament. So you can see Erica Kelly getting another goal. Devin Ingersoll, with 12 on the season, got her final goal with 3 minutes left in the frame, and Stonehill was able to march on with the victory. They will take on UMass Lowell in the first round of that NE10 tournament. Number 3 versus number 6. It's going to be a tough one. And now we're going to roll right into volleyball, their second contest of the week. Sydney Maxey in the huddle there trying to pump up the troops, but the first set was all St. Rose. So you can see Willits here sending one home straight down the middle. St. Rose would take the first 2 sets and put the Skyhawks on their heels. Stonehill rallied, though, and was able to hang tough. They take the second set on this point. As you can see, it goes out, but St. Rose went on 2 7-0 runs in the third, and they never looked back from there. They took the game by a final of 3-1, and with the loss, Stonehill drops down to 7th place in the NE10 standings with an 11-10 record, 5-4. Only a couple wins over those top teams in the upper echelon, and still with games remaining against New Haven, Adelphi, and Pace. It's a tough road out for the Skyhawks team, who just seems to be running into their opponents at the wrong time. Wrong place, wrong time for this team, who was very, very talented but Sydney Maxey did pick up her 1,000th dig, and they are marching on. The national spotlight was on Stonehill College on Thursday night, October 18th, for the first nationally televised football game in program history. The Skyhawks waged war with the number 3 ranked team in the country in the New Haven Chargers. CBS Sports Network had the coverage, with the experts calling for a blowout. But there was a surprise in store for CBS, its millions of viewers, and most of all, the visiting New Haven Chargers, who have never lost to Stonehill since joining the NE10 Conference 3 years ago. An instant classic unfolded at WB Mason Stadium in front of an overflow crowd of wild Stonehill fans. Let's check it out. You think they're ramped up and ready to go for this one? I'd say so too. Here we go. The energy transfers right into an opening score out of the tunnel, and on 1st and goal, Logan Meyer's going to hit John Gomes' senior wide receiver in the end zone for a touchdown. Stonehill on top early, but New Haven responds. 1st and 10, Mike DeCaro rumbles in from 26 yards out, but a failed extra 2-point conversion would make it 6-6. Now Stonehill leading 9-6, but New Haven's going to get a touchdown pass from Masheshki to Lashley. But the next drive, Meyer had a career day. That's 48 yards to sophomore wide receiver Nate Robitaille. Setting up this on the next play, how about the senior Demetrius Troy on the 1-yard touchdown run? 16-13, Stonehill with the lead. But New Haven, and the crowd loves it. I mean, this crowd was crazy all game. But New Haven would have a response before the half. Ryan Ashesky to Demetrius Ellis Washington, 21-16 after the 2-point conversion. That would be your halftime score. Coach Talley getting interviewed at the half, but the fans did not leave. They were rearing and ready to go, as is Ryan Hunt and that defense, just itching to get back on the field. Little smack top coming from Hunt, and Stonehill struck first in the second half. That was Griswack with another field goal of his own, put Stonehill up 21-19. And here they go again. That's Nate Robitaille with a snag over the middle. Look at the poise in the pocket by Logan Meyer. A huge pickup for Robitaille into the end zone for a touchdown. Stonehill's on top, 28-26. But just at the end of the third quarter, Chris Schifo's going to knock through a 28-yarder and put New Haven up 31-26. Lead changes galore in this one. But on the very next drive in the fourth, that's on 3rd and 11, look at Meyer with the precision pass to John Gomes again, his second touchdown of the day. Meyer would be shaken up on that play, and true freshman quarterback Mo Regan comes in for the 2 points. Yes, he's got it to Robitaille. Robitaille had a huge one. Stonehill's up 34-31. 1st and 10 now from New Haven's 14-yard line. Eric Schneider gets to the quarterback. Strip sack, actually pops the ball forward, and Brendan Weiss, the other defensive end, comes up with the interception. Huge opportune moment for a sack there for Stonehill. Fans going crazy, and that led to this 2 plays later. Meyer to Robitaille, why not? Another touchdown for the sophomore. On the 7-yard reception, Stonehill up 41-31 with 10 minutes to play. But that is where New Haven started coming back. Here they go. Ashesky, a touchdown to Thompson, makes it a 3-point game. New Haven really just took it into high gear here, proving why they're the number 3 team in the country. Now trying to take the lead in the closing seconds. That pass is dropped by Josh Smart. So 3rd and goal. Stonehill has to come up with a stand. They go up top to the big man, and Thompson brings it in. That would be the game winner. Takes advantage of the matchup, and Thompson finishes with 3 touchdown catches on the day. Unbelievable stuff from him. New Haven with the poise on the road, able to come back from behind. You can see the heartbreak as Stonehill drops one at home. Final score would be 45-41 after a last-ditch Hail Mary effort. But what an incredible game we were privileged to see at WB Mason Stadium. Hats off to Logan Meyer, 19 of 35, 296 yards, 4 touchdown passes. He played phenomenally, and Ashesky matching that effort on the other side, as you can see here. Gaines finished with 10 tackles, which edges him closer to national precedence. He has 91 total on the season, which is 7th in the nation. Stonehill has a week off, and then they will go to Pace for their final game of the regular season, looking for a win there. But now we take a look at the conference standings, and Stonehill, it looks like they're going to lock up 4th place in those standings. They're 4-4 overall, 4-3 in the conference, with losses to all 3 of the top teams. They have beaten all of the lower teams, and one would assume that they would beat up on the lowly Pace 2 weeks from now, Brendan, heading into championship week.
And it was a championship weekend for the Skyhawk runners this weekend as they came home with 2 new additions for the walls of Merkert Gymnasium as both the men's and women's cross-country teams emerge as NE10 champions. And you can see here the start to the women's race. They would be NE10 champs for an absolutely incredible 4th straight season, riding high on performances from newly named first all-conference team runners Caroline McBride and Chelsea Bishop. Coach Karen Bone was named as the Women's Coach of the Year and congratulated her senior runners on an absolutely stunning achievement, saying to think they have won a conference championship every year that they have been at the college is a tribute to their leadership and their work ethic. Congratulations to that team, but not to be outdone, the men's team also took home their 2nd straight title, and they did it in just about the most dramatic fashion possible as they won by just 1 point over Bentley and squeaked out 3 points over American International. Coach Karen Bowen also took the NE10 Coach of the Year title on the men's side, and she praised the depth of the Skyhawk runners, saying, "We have the best depth of any team. Every guy on this team matters, and it really showed today." On top of Coach of the Year and conference titles, the 12th nationally ranked Skyhawks also saw 4 members nominated to the 2nd all-conference team and 2 more named to the 3rd team. Congratulations to both teams as you see them pose here with their trophy. Look at the finish for the men. Like I said, a close finish. Stonehill was 60 points, barely edging out AIC and UMass Lowell 61 to 63 and 60. Congratulations to both teams.
You know, Brendan, a week like this, with milestones set, one of the best football games, they're calling it, that they've ever seen here on Stonehill's campus, showing off our school on national television, and a historic championship-winning performance from women's cross-country, another championship for men's cross-country. It sure makes you glad to be a Skyhawk.
That's right, Craig. I think you said it best. And another congratulations to all the athletes celebrating this week. And thanks to everyone for tuning in for another week of Skyhawk Update. For Craig Riotto and the rest of the SCSN team, I'm Brendan Murray. You can find us on Twitter or YouTube at Skyhawk Update, and we will see you next week.